Just days after a ceasefire, Israel has launched a new wave of airstrikes in Gaza following the killing of 2 IDF soldiers. In essence, a number of folks are now stating we are about to be yet again on the brink of a full-fledged war, as both Hamas and IDF accuse each other of violating the truce. The question now is whether the deal ever had a chance. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Abdullah Hayek, a Middle East History and Peace Fellow with Young Voices. Sir, good to see you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here again.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just heard me make mention of the word brink of war. And so many folks are stating that this could actually really happen. And the catapult, if you will, happens to stem from yet again a minor incident.
I think it's too early to tell if this would actually develop into a full-scale renewed war. We have to recognize that the architecture of this deal is a give-and-take one. It's a transactional one. So far, the phase one of the deal has been a success. The second phase of the deal, which its sensitivities have triggered what you've just mentioned and what we've seen on the ground, is the true challenge to this all. The body identification of the deceased hostages remains a challenge due to the immense rubble of the Gaza Strip right now, but Hamas has so far, to a certain extent, committed to returning the deceased hostages. I think these minor disagreements, these minor misunderstandings, don't really speculate the notion that a full renewed war would happen, because so far, Israel has committed to its part, and Hamas, with the few minor exceptions, has. So far, we're going on the right track in terms of the ceasefire process implementation.
But let's talk about the humanitarian effort, if you will, or what many would call a fallout. And that's perhaps fair to say because of the resumed airstrikes that are now threatening aid deliveries. Is that yet again an issue and something to be concerned about?
Well, that's one of the gaps within the ceasefire that haven't been fully clarified and fully implemented. Within the 20-point plan that Donald Trump laid out a few weeks ago, it reserves Israel's right to prevent humanitarian aid and the humanitarian corridor from flowing in if there are mishaps on Hamas's behalf. I think that is disadvantageous to the Israeli interest and to the full implementation of the ceasefire. If Hamas is going ahead and falling back on its responsibilities and implementing the ceasefire, what do the people in Gaza have to do with preventing the humanitarian corridor from reaching them? It's important to note that the humanitarian corridor is really there for the benefit of the people in Gaza. Now, despite Hamas having a past of taking advantage and controlling those humanitarian aid, nonetheless, with the new environment we have now, a ceasefire in effect, I think it's important to realize that the benefits of reaching humanitarian aid to the Gazan people would play a long way, especially that we've seen massive animosity and resentment and protests against Hamas on behalf of the Gazan people. So doing that would prevent that development from progressing into something beneficial to everyone.
Yeah, well, obviously the U.S. keeping a very close eye on all of the developments, so much so that Vice President J.D. Vance paid a visit to that region, met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This is proof in the pudding that the U.S. yet again wants to make sure this ceasefire deal stays in place.
Absolutely. I think that the U.S. has a major stake in this. The manner in which it delivered the ceasefire to the finishing line was quite impressive. We've seen strong engagement, not just on behalf of President Trump in the process, but we've seen a group of diverse and somewhat talented individuals taking place in this. Usually the Israeli-Palestinian process involved traditional diplomats and politicians, whereas Donald Trump brought in new minds. He brought in his business allies from New York, like Steve Witkoff. He brought in Jared Kushner, who has a business background. And of course, J.D. Vance, which is the Vice President of the United States, is there to bring that to the finish line. I think Vance's visit, especially in light of Donald Trump's recent visit, shows strong U.S. interest in having the ceasefire fully implemented. Especially Donald Trump right now is eyeing U.S. engagement and involvement in ending the war in Ukraine, as we've seen with President Zelensky's recent visit.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Yet again, we have been speaking with Abdullah Hayek, a Middle East History and Peace Fellow with Young Voices. Sir, I truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.